And the bottom is on.
There we go. All right, good afternoon, everyone. So like we said, we're on page 179, 7.1 for Cosmos. And for barbers, you are on 102B.14, page 179.
That's weird. They are.
They're both on 179?
Yeah.
Huh, that's a first. You guys are both on page 179. All right, I'm about to get this started, and then I'm going to let Miss Janie take over. All right, there you go.
All right. I'll see you all at 2. Good afternoon. So the lucky
Hi, Miss Jamie.
Hi. The lucky few that I know in here, I call your names when I need something.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, I wish you hadn't. Okay, so this is trichology, right? Hair theory. So the lesson focuses on helping demonstrate knowledge of hair and scalp when you're analyzing and caring for your client's hair. So we're going to go through the hair bulb formation, its growth, its structure and behavior, and its natural hair color. We good to go? Okay, remember, let me know if these slides aren't moving. Okay. Okay. Have you ever had a bad hair day? Any? I know we all have, right? At least once, all right? What do you think might have caused that? Besides sleeping kind of crazy, okay?
Weather.
Weather, yep. The other environments. How about water? Do you honestly think water has something to do with it? Have you ever stayed the night at someone else's house and tried to shampoo your hair and condition it, and it just didn't behave the same way as it did when you're at home?
Yeah.
Right?
So product use?
No, it's actually the water. The water actually has a hard and soft combination, and so sometimes the water may be too hard or too soft. So if it's really flat, the water's too soft, and if it's too hard, it's going to make it frizzy, kind of raw. So it's weird that it's the water, huh? That was the weirdest thing I found out when I was like, oh my God, really, is it water? And it really is, because that was the only thing that was different. The shampoo that I used was the same, the conditioner was the same, but it is the water. So when they come out to your house and they want to install those water softeners, that's usually why. That's what they're using as an example, is your hair. Okay. Clients actually know they could trust you when you demonstrate your knowledge of the hair and scalp. That's a little easy thing, is telling them about water. Okay. Are they still moving, those slides? Yeah? All right. Again, it's going through the same thing. You're going to know about the hair bulb, the growth, the layers of the hair, and the factors that affect the behavior of the hair, and how the hair gains its color. So let's start off with, is the hair alive? How fast does it grow? Does it respond to stimulation? All right, hair in itself is not alive, but the cells of the hair bulb are alive. So basically, the hair is alive under the skin, but once it makes its way outside of that scalp, it's not really alive. That area of the hair is not. So it's just the root. The main purpose of the hair is for adornment and protection from heat, cold, and injury. By the way, that's a test question right there. Okay, main purpose of hair, FYI. Okay. I go a little faster than Connie, so if I go too fast, you guys are gonna have to tell me to slow down, okay? Because you're not used to having me by myself. All right, so here's a picture of our hair bulb formation. It starts out at that primitive hair germ, kind of like the very beginning of a seed. Okay, it works its way down. This is your root sheath and the hair growth coming off to the side of it. You see that? Right here is going to be, that on the side right here is going to be your oil. So the primitive hair germ forms in the basal layer of the epidermis. Also a test question, okay? It works its way down into the lower dermal layer of the skin to get its nourishment, basically where the papilla is. And that papilla feeds on the blood and gets its nourishment from there to grow hair. It pulls the upper layer down, creating the root sheath. This is the hair strand, basically. and the hair grows from the root sheath upwards. So your hair strand is also known as the hair fiber, I guess you could say, hair fiber, hair strand. Okay. So two parts, the root and the fiber. So if you look at the shapes of our follicles, you usually have to do it underneath, underneath a microscope. So straight hair is going to have a round follicle. Okay, wavy to curly hair is going to have an oval follicle. And then a tightly curled is known as elliptical. Can you see the differences of those hair follicles? They look a little bit different, don't they?
Yeah,
Huh? What was that?
they do look a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Well, the cross-section view, basically for your straight hair, the cross-section view of the follicle is going to be round. And they kind of show you the area where it's going to be round, what they're talking about. It's actually where the hair comes out of, that little follicle, a little pore that's up on the top of your scalp, that area. So if you need to, find someone in your house that you can go around and look at the follicles of where their hair is coming out, and tell me if you could find one person in your house that has a round, a wavy, or tightly curled. I mean straight, excuse me, straight, wavy, or curly, tightly curled. Huh?
I have like these random cowlicks, so I think that's what they're called, because my hair is kind of like wavy and just like random parts, like it'll curl up too right here. Is that kind of like the same thing?
Well, we're talking, you know where the hair follicle comes out of, that little hole?
Mm-hmm.
That's the part that we're talking about. It's either going to be round, or it's going to be like an oval, or it's going to be elliptical, kind of, let me see if I can show you. Elliptical, kind of like it's flat, like this. It's like skinnier than an oval, but it's kind of the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Your round one's like this, right? And then it kind of goes like an oval, and then it gets even skinnier than the oval for the elliptical. Okay, if you want to, you can get a little mirror out and look at your own scalp and see what it looks like. But it doesn't have anything to do with the cowlick just yet. It's just how the hair comes out of the follicle. Does that explain it a little bit better?
Yeah.
Okay. So your straight hair, like I said, it's the cross-section view of the follicle. It's round. The wavy is going to be the oval shape, and the tightly curled is the flat ellipticals. So if you went right down here on the scalp, I know this looks really weird. Okay, look down right here, and you can get a mirror to see what your follicle looks like. Is it round? Is it more of an oval? Take a picture of one. Separate your hair, take a picture, and then you can look it up, because you can expand it on your phone, right? So all of you get to do, this is your homework tonight, I'm really serious. Take a picture of your scalp, separate it so you can at least get one follicle, and send me a picture of your follicle. Okay, tell me what it is. How's that? That's easy, right? Yeah, that's so too, okay? All right. Again, we're going to go through the two parts of the hair, which is the hair root, which is below the skin, and the hair strand. So the portion of the hair inside of the hair follicle under the skin surface is the root, just like a plant. A root is right below it. The hair strand is the portion that extends above the scalp or the skin surface. Okay. So hair growth, right? Hair pulled out from the roots will grow again unless the papilla has been destroyed. And the papilla, remember, is at the bottom of the follicle, okay? The follicle looks like a golf club, I guess you could say, okay? And at that part where it's the little curved area, that's where that papilla is at the very end. And it's feeding into that to grow hair. So your papilla, again, was filled with capillaries that supply nourishment to the cells. That's how your hair grows. So you need to know that right off the bat. That's another test question, okay? Germinal matrix cells undergo cell division. Do you remember what that's called? Anyone? It produces cells that form layers of the skin, layers of the hair. So mitosis is the division, right, of cells into daughter cells, correct? No one's answering me. Uh-oh.
Yes.
That means I'm gonna go find somebody in here. Okay. Hair pulled out from the roots will grow again unless the papilla is destroyed. So let's talk about people let it go bald, completely bald. Okay. Sometimes that baldness could be caused by stress. And what it has not done is not, the papilla is not dead yet, but it lay dormant. Okay. This sounds really strange, but my uncle, I remember when he was married to this crazy woman, sounds crazy. She was crazy. She would throw things at him, but she was a little crazy. He was 19 years old. He went completely bald within the first year of marriage. And he was married to her for like 10 years. As soon as he divorced, his hair started growing back. And I'm like, I thought that he had had a transplant. And he's like, no. He goes, as soon as I got rid of that woman, he goes, my hair grew back. So we have tools here. We have a high frequency machine that actually can stimulate down below. So if the hair follicle is not dead, meaning the papilla is not dead, the hair can still grow. But it can lie dormant for certain instances, like being under so much stress that the hair won't grow. So you could stimulate that, get the blood circulating by doing treatments of high frequency, like once a week. Have you seen the machine? Anybody in here seen the high frequency machine or have used it? It's a great tool. Huh? Sorry. What were you gonna say?
Wait, what tool?
The high frequency machine.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, they use it in the skin department too, okay? But it can be used in the hair department, like when you're doing hair. The skin, they use it for breakouts, blemishes, pustules, to dry up underneath, okay? Because it has these two little actions. All right, the second action actually increases the circulation. It stimulates using electricity to get that hair woken up, the ones that were laying dormant because they were under so much stress. So you can actually go over that. I would be doing it at least once or twice a week for at least a month, and let's see if there's any new growth. If there are, then you know that the hair follicle was only laying dormant. It wasn't actually dead yet, okay? So it's one way of doing it. Other ways you can use those nioxin and a couple of other, minoxidil. There's a couple of other ones that you can apply to the scalp, but this one is not having to use any drugs, okay? It's safer if you can tolerate electricity. People that are pregnant, high blood pressure, diabetics, let's see. People with pacemakers, they're not candidates for electricity. But if your client is a candidate where you can use electricity, then I'd use it on their scalp. Give them a treatment and let them feel it. They shouldn't feel anything at all unless you have come off the skin and not handled the machine the correct way. And they might feel a little shock. Not enough to hurt them. Okay. Moving on. We have 3 layers of the hair, okay? The 3 main layers are going to be your medulla, your cortex, and your cuticle, right? So your cuticle is the outer covering of the hair strand. It's what we see that looks like it's frizzy, or it looks like it's, depending on if you use conditioner or not. Your cortex is going to be the second layer of hair strand. Inside the cortex, this is where your melanin is located. You get color from there. This is where hair color goes, permanent hair color, okay? Perming, relaxers are all affected in that cortex layer. And then the third layer is that medulla, and it's the central core of the hair strand. It's sometimes missing in people with fine hair. It's also known as like the garbage can, all the junk that's in the hair that goes into that department, just sits in there. So you have 3 layers, the cuticle, the cortex, and the medulla. Here we go. So our hair growth covers your sebaceous glands, which are your oil glands, the sebum, which is your oil, the acid mantle, and the erecti pili muscle. So your sebaceous oil glands fill with capillaries that supply nourishment to the cells so that it can grow. The sebum, or the oil, mixes with your perspiration to form the acid mantle. That's that nice little mist that's laying on the top of your skin or scalp. The acid mantle protects the cuticle. It maintains an acid balance of the hair and skin. So pretty much I think of like the acid mantle being like the vegetable sprayer at the grocery store, how it spits out a little bit of water every 20 minutes or something. So your skin actually produces a little bit of that oil, and it's like a little mist that it lays there. It's to protect you from the outside environment, dirt and grime, pretty much. Okay, when that's missing, or if you've stripped it, it's easy to get dirt and bacteria in your skin. But that acid mantle is supposed to be a 4.5 to 5.5. Okay. Your erecti pili muscle. This is the muscle, or your, let's see, goosebump is what it basically is. It causes the hair to stand on end when a person is scared or when it's cold. I just kept remembering it. It's trying to be, it gives you goosebumps. It makes your hair grow. If you've ever shaved your legs in the middle of a freezing winter, okay, and then you go outside and your hair starts growing immediately. You can feel like you have shadows on your face and your legs. Okay, these are all terminologies here. Okay, keratinization. This is the process of the cells changing shape. They dry out and they form keratin protein. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but you know that keratin makes your nails, right? The hard part of it, and the soft part is your hair and your skin. There's a disorder which actually makes, instead of hair coming out of your skin, meaning your arms, legs, and other parts of your body, they're nails. They make little tiny nails. So if you looked it up on the internet, just look up nails on the face or skin. So they're like little razor fingernails that grow out, because instead of being soft like it normally on your arms, it actually turns into a jagged, like feels like a razor. Anybody ever seen that before? No? It's interesting because
Yeah, I did see it.
yeah, it's kind of nasty though, but it is interesting. So basically when they start to dry out, instead of staying nice and soft for the hair, they turn really hard. Once these cells are keratinized, they form the hair strand, they're no longer alive. However, the cells below the scalp are. Okay. You guys ever wonder why you have to know all these amino acids? Is that a beep? Okay, amino acids equal protein, protein equals hair. So the hair is primarily made up of a protein called keratin. The amino acids coil around each other to become this protein, or protein chains. And then they form what's known as the cortex. There's a twisting action that gives the hair the ability to stretch and return to normal without breaking. These protofibrils then twist around each other to become microfibrils. The microfibrils follow the same process and become macrofibrils. This process forms the cortex. What layer of the hair is the cortex? Anyone?
The outer layer?
The second layer.
The second layer, yeah, it's the second layer. The outer layer is the cuticle. That's good, you're at least trying. Okay, moving on, the stages of growth. This one's kind of interesting, you guys. All right, oops, back here. You have the anagen, catagen, and telogen stage. If you can remember the acronym ACT, A-C-T, okay? The anagen stage is the active growing stage. This is when it's still attached to the root sheath. This is the area when you're doing hair removal, you're pulling hair from the anagen stage. Okay, we never pull it from any other stage. I don't know how it knows that, but it does. This actual grows from 2 to 6 years or 1,000 days. Okay, that stage of growth. The catagen stage now, it's a brief transitional stage. Sometimes they say a few weeks. Could it go from 10 to 14, 16 days? Something like that. This is where cell division stops. It's just laying there kind of dormant for that week or so, 2 weeks. The telogen stage is what they call their resting stage, but this is where it's not attached to the root sheath. So if you took a hairbrush that you've been using at your home, okay, you will find 2 types of hair in there. You'll find one with a little white thing on the end of it, which was attached to the root sheath. And then you'll find some that have no attached root sheath on it. The one with the root sheath, you're going to be able to see that that's the one they use for drug testing, because they have to have it attached at one point. So that's why they're always kind of coming up to you and pulling your hair out by the root to see if it's actually growing. But the other hair comes out of the brush when your hair is falling out. Okay, so that last stage is literally falling out and a new hair is coming up behind it, starting the process all over again. So this is now the anagen stage. So it goes through the anagen, catagen, and telogen stages, and then reverts back to the anagen stage. A little bit of tidbit of advice: if you like to do hair removal like waxing, clients that come in for the very first time for leg waxing or something like that, we have to tell them that they need to come and see me every 2 weeks for the first 6 weeks. They've never waxed before. In those first 6 weeks, they're not allowed to wax or shave their legs, because then I'll have to start the cycle all over again. What happens when you start to remove that hair, since it's in the anagen stage, the ones that are in the catagen stage, because you pulled by the root, wake up and they start growing. So the next couple of days, they're gonna have like little bumps coming, little hairs coming out, and they'll think you might have missed it. That's not the point. Every 2 weeks, they're coming in and we're trying to get that hair to grow at the same time. So that catagen now, we're gonna have to remove that on the second week. The telogen, 2 weeks after that. By this time, you should be able to get them once a month as a client, okay? So that the hair is now growing at the same time. Otherwise, if they shave in between there, they've messed up the whole cycle, okay? So you wanna get the hair all growing at the same time so that you can remove it at the same time and they don't have those little hairs coming up a couple of days later or a week later. But again, if you're not telling your client this beforehand, she's gonna walk away and think that you don't know what you're doing, and you haven't told her that this could happen, because that's our job, to tell them what could or might happen in case it does. All right, hair can be affected by illnesses, disease, a lack of vitamins or minerals, and medications. Okay. They don't have stress there, but I guess that would fall under your like illness, right? Okay. Hair structure and behavior. Okay. Oh, there we go. There are 3 factors that affect the behavior of your hair. One is heredity. This is from your parents, okay? Aunts and uncles, everybody that's involved in your hereditary. Your environment, this could be outside, it could be inside. Think of it being cold outside and you've gone outside and the hair gets a little chilly, if you want to call it that. Or coming back into a warm building, that cold, hot, actually it does affect your hair. The products and appliances that we use, straighteners, okay, or curling irons, both of them are going to change the way the hair behaves. So heredity on here on the bottom, it says determines the hair structure, color, shape, and diameter. Okay, and you're going to be working on that diameter of the follicle today, right? Cinnamon. Environment or weather, this affects how the hair absorbs moisture from the air. And your products or appliances will affect the structural organization of the hair. Am I going too fast for you guys?
No, you're doing good, Ms. Jenny.
You're like, yeah, whatever. You'll get used to it. All right, so let's break down the structural organization of hair, okay? Fine hair looks like that first little picture right there, a little blue and yellow. The medium, it looks a little bit thicker, and then coarser hair is a little bit thicker than that. So to better understand the difference in people's hairs, take a closer look at the hair structural organization. Series of images taken of hair, magnified hundreds of times to show the differences in the diameter of the hair. Okay. We're going to do one of these little exercises here in a minute. Okay. So this is observing the differences between Caucasian, Asian, and African. Besides color, do you see anything different about that hair? Not really, huh? Not in a picture. Okay. Moving on. The diameter of the hair strand. Okay. Your cuticle layer is the outside layer, right? The hard, resistant area. Okay. The cortex on the inside is soft and elastic. So the higher the cuticle cortex ratio, the more resistant the hair is. The lower the cuticle cortex ratio, the easier the hair can be molded. Hold on a second, I had this little ratio here a second ago in my notes. Well, I did. Sorry, I thought I had my little notes in there. I'll just have to use the slides. Okay, natural hair color. The melanocytes produce the melanosomes, which contain the pigment melanin. Okay, melanocytes are what give us our hair color, or the pigment for that hair color. There are two types. We have eomelanin and pheomelanin. You should remember that the pheomelanin was the red, because I think of Fiona from Shrek. That's the only way I could remember that one. And then eomelanin was the dark. So melanin influences the resulting hair colors by the amount, size, and distribution of one or both. That is a test question, guys, okay? Melanin's influences the resulting hair colors by the amount and distribution of one or both. Albinism, though, is the total lack of pigmentation in the hair and skin. So what that looks like is really white hair and usually blue eyes. Okay. Gray hair, basically this is the absence of pigment, okay? So it's a reduced melanin in the cortex. It's referred to as mottled hair. It grows from the papilla with gray hair. The results usually from a natural aging process. Sometimes stress can actually change people into gray hair. It's caused by emotional conditions, illnesses, and hereditary. So just like my uncle losing all of his hair because he had a crazy woman, people have gone gray just about overnight. There have been cases of it.
So either way, you're gonna get gray hair.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I don't think I've known anyone. Do you know anybody that's aged and has no gray hair without coloring it?
Nope.
I think it's some part of it. Basically, it's just the pigment doesn't produce anymore, and that's why it turns to gray. I just want to know how it decides which gray it's going to be, steel, you know, or white. Because sometimes the same person can have both. Like right around the hairline, it's usually like white, and the rest of the hair is usually steel or a mixture of both. Okay, so your melanin actually protects you. I know this is a crazy thing to say, but it acts as like your body's own ultraviolet protection, I guess you could say, but it's not a very good one, so you need sunscreen. But what it does is it actually darkens when you've been exposed to the skin. So even a nice little tan that you've gotten outside, okay, when your body's tan, it's been damaged. The skin has literally been damaged. It protects both the skin and hair from sun's damaging rays. Have you ever seen hair that's been sunburned? Hair can actually be sunburned, especially white hair can be sunburned. It turns on this yellowish kind of color. It's not the same as like if somebody's been in a room smoking, but it does turn a yellow, and that's actually sunburned hair. Okay, it says it's sent to the surface to protect the skin's sensitive cells, resulting in a suntan. That's the damage it causes. White hair, which lacks melanin, is at the greatest risk for sun damage.
Miss Janie, so like my mom is like a very light blonde, and her hair in the summertime gets like the orangey color, like a yellow orange. Does that mean her hair has been sunburnt?
No. It's a different type of a yellow. It almost looks like the same type of yellow if somebody's been in the house smoking for years. Okay, and it picks up that nicotine kind of yellow. That's what it is. If your mom's turning orange, does she have color in her hair at all?
No, she's a natural, like almost like a platinum.
Okay, but she has red. They've got red in somewhere in your family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why she's turning that kind of
Okay.
red color. Orangey, yeah, that's why. There's usually a redhead somewhere in there, really quick.
Yeah.
Probably was red when she was smaller, and then it just got lighter and lighter, because that's usually what happens. Either that or they're really blonde, and then they turn darker red later on.
Okay.
Okay, that's a good question. All right, moving on. Check what you know. Okay, instead of me answering with Connie, you guys get to answer. Okay. So hair grows out of a tube-like pocket called the root sheath.
Miss Janie?
Huh? Is it stuck? Okay, what were we gonna say?
Oh, I think my hair kind of gets like sunburnt because sometimes like ever since I was little, like the top part is dark, but like the ends, I don't know if that gets sunburnt, if that's considered that, but like the ends just get like lighter.
There's no color on your hair, right? I'm doing pretty good. The screens aren't turning. No, you're just talking about the hair being sunburned because it can get sunburned and it turns like a yellowish kind of color.
Yellow, it's burnt.
It's like it's burnt. Because I was like talking about
Yep.
tobacco, it looks like tobacco stains on there. She said that her hair gets like that on the ends.
So that,
Who was the one that was telling me about their hair? Is that Elizabeth? No? Who was it?
No, that's Brenda.
oh, Brenda. Yeah. How often do you cut your hair?
I cut it. I don't really cut it.
Well, that's probably why too.
It probably looks like that.
Yeah, you need to trim it.
Just to get those little ends off,
Yeah,
huh?
definitely need to trim. I need to trim.
All right, let's put these and then we'll, you can have your computer, okay? All right, so number one, anybody remember? Is that true or false?
Hair grows out of the tube.
Like pocket called the root sheath.
True.
Yeah? Okay. All right, number two, the shape of the follicle will determine the length of the hair.
False.
False. All right. Okay. The portion of hair that extends above the skin surface.
False.
Okay. Fill in the blank. The portion of hair that extends above the skin's surface.
False.
It's not a true or
It's not
false
true or false.
question.
No, we're in the third question.
It's hair fiber.
Hair fibers.
Yeah. Okay, or hair strand, whatever they're calling. The outer covering of the hair strand is called.
Cortex.
What is this? You're
The
drinking.
cuticle? The cuticle?
Yeah, cuticle. Cuticle.
Yeah, you drink, Lydia, you drinking beer in my class? Good Lord.
What?
All right. The outer covering of the hair strand is called.
Cuticle.
Cuticle, good. All right. The layer of the hair that gives hair most of its pigment and strength is called.
Keratin?
Cortex.
Melanin.
Cortex. She was right. Cortex.
Oh yeah, that was my third guess.
Okay. All right, here we go. The central core of the hair strand is known as. Anyone want to try it? What's that garbage can one called?
Medulla.
Medulla. Good. Okay, a process where cells change their shape, dry out, and form keratin protein is known as. It's got the word that the hair is made out of.
Melanin.
Keratinization?
Yeah, it's keratinization. All right, the 3 stages of hair growth are the anagen, catagen, and
Telogen?
collagen. Good. All right, the active growing period of the hair is known as the
Anagen?
Anagen stage, yes. Okay, and if the amount of pheomelanin is very concentrated and near the cuticle layer, the hair will appear more,
Darker?
yeah, or red, I would think. Pheo is red, right? We'll see. Let's check our answers. All right, because Connie's got to get in here. Okay, the first one was true, so you guys are right, the tube-like pocket. Okay, second one was false, you got that one right. Third one was hair strand. Okay, the fourth one was the cuticle, you got that right? The layer of the hair that gives it is cortex. Okay, moving on. I see you over there, I know who this person is right here. The central core is known as the medulla. Process where the cells change is keratinization. Telogen is the next one, anagen stage, and the last one was red. Okay, Connie has to get in here and change this for us. That's why she's standing near. So hang on. So what's your homework assignment tonight, guys? Because I have to finish this for her. What's your homework?
Take a picture of a follicle.
Yep, and then determine what that follicle is. If it's round, oval, or elliptical, correct?
Mhm.
Yes. Okay, you're gonna send that through the zip whip, okay? I'll give you an easy homework assignment tonight. All right, Connie's gonna come in here and take roll, so don't anyone leave yet, okay? I'll be right back.
Bye, Miss Jamie.
No, don't leave, because you're not gonna get credit. I need to take roll again.
Okay, see you in a minute, Miss Jamie.
Right?
No, I know they're gonna do like roll call. Okay.
Make sure you have a room.
Yeah, don't want to slip in. Oh shit, but I'm not muted yet.
Which one doesn't have, who doesn't have hair? Lulo's already here. That's what I'm drinking. I know.
Okay, let me get over here and stop share.
You're gonna take roll, right?
I am gonna take a roll. Did you stop the recording?
No, not yet.
Okay, let's stop that so I can, no, I'm just gonna stop share so I can retake roll.
Where am I at? I'm at the end of that
Okay.
page. The first step.
Okay, Alexis, Amaya. Ashley. Oh,
I'm gonna just put them up tomorrow.
Miss Connie, it's both of us, me and Juju. Just so you know.
Okay.
Who's drinking alcohol?
Got Shay on here, right? Yeah, got Shay.
Hey, Lugo.
Asia, got Crystal. Elizabeth. Okay, Haley, Isabel, Jasmine, Jessica, Judith. Oh, that went too far.
Went too far.
Yeah. Okay, so there's Judith and Catherine, Kayla, Laura, Leslie, Lydia. So Lydia must be the other two.
Miss Connie, how long are you gonna be up on the campus today?
Till 4. Well, maybe a little bit after 4, but yeah, right around that time. We'll leave between.
I forgot to catch you Saturday before we left. You cut my nephew's hair.
Let's see, Julian and who was the other one? Jose. Trying to figure out who else we have on here. Let's see, Mercedes. Sada. City Tree, Solly. Okay, so it's 1:48. So let me double check and make sure I have everyone. I have Alexis, Rose, Shay, Deja, Elizabeth, Haley, Nick, Isabella, Jasmine, Judith, Catherine, Lauren, Brenda, Nate, Junior, Catherine. I have Catherine twice. Natanya, Peyton, Ruben, Sydney, Treese, Valerie, Jessica, Leslie, Benny, Crystal, Kayla, Amaya, Ashley, Carly, Julian, Lugo, Mercedes,
Here.
Sada, and Exali. Do I have everyone? Did I miss anyone? Okay, so we have, it's 1:49, so we'll go ahead and take a break right now, and we'll start back at 2 for the second half.
So 2 o'clock?